block.
And so let's get started.
It's gonna be fun.
All right, so I guess I am up first. This is my quilt.
It's so cute.
I'm really happy with how it came out. It's super fun and it's just 2 blocks. So to make this quilt, you're going to need 1 package of 10-inch squares, and I use this beautiful Precious Pinks collection by Island Batik. You're also going to need 6 1/4 yards of background fabric. That includes your sashing and border. Of course, you'll need some binding, about 3/4 yard, and I use this really fun cuddle for the back with the hearts on it. And you will need 8 1/4 yards with vertical seams. So let me show you how to make this. So like I mentioned, this quilt is made up of 2 blocks, and this is what it looks like right here. They're super easy.
They're
Thank
so cute.
you. And this is the first one we're gonna make. Looks just like this. And so let's go ahead and set these aside. We're gonna grab a couple of our 10-inch squares, and of course the pattern tells you exactly how many of each one to cut each way.
Okay.
But we're gonna start by just cutting this into 2.5-inch strips. Make sure I'm nice and straight on my mat here. So we're gonna cut and cut all the way across. And it's good to stack up a few of these to have some variety, because I did mix up and make my blocks scrappy. So you should get 4 cuts across, and then I'm gonna stack them again just to save a little bit of time. Make sure they're not going too crazy. There we go. And then we are going to cut 4.5-inch rectangles. Like that. And like that. And so this is our waist. Not too bad at all.
Not bad at all.
And then we are going to take some of our background squares. You're gonna need 2.5 inches, and then I believe these are 1.5, yep. And we are gonna take 2 matching colors here. If I can get a hold of them. Oh, those batiks really stick together sometimes. There we go. 1,
I have
2.
many times found 2
Oh.
that I thought was just 1, and I'm like, oh no,
Oh,
I have
no.
a little book block.
Exactly. And so to begin with, we're gonna start with our 2.5-inch squares, and you can see I drew a line. If you have the diagonal seam tape, you could just use that, but I wanted to make sure you guys could see. And we are just gonna place these so that they're going opposite directions. And if you wanna sew right on that line,
Excellent.
there we go. We'll do that first.
Line it up. I always forget about the auto drop on the foot.
I know, I always reach for the lever.
Okay.
Natalie's just sliding those in one after the other. Of course, when you're making the whole quilt, chain piecing is a great idea because it'll save you a ton of time. And there's a lot of these little hearts in there. Beautiful.
Well,
I'll just trim them apart, yeah.
Yeah. There you
All
go.
right, and so now we have those. She sewed them right on the line, going in opposite directions. We're just gonna trim off the extra.
Okay.
Get rid of that. Nat's gonna run and jump to the iron.
Yes.
And
Love
just
it.
wanna roll those back.
Keep me busy.
And then we'll use our 1.5-inch squares as soon as she gets those pressed back. And so we will add 2 of these to each of our hearts. We'll do one side first, and then we'll come back and do the other side to make that little point. And so
Nice.
I'm gonna add 1 on each. Maybe if I do it this way, it'll be easier for you to feed them one
Just
after
do 'em
the
both,
other. Yeah.
And then
We'll come back and add. And the fun thing is, every heart that you see in the quilt is made this exact same way. So it's just one method and one size. So she's just gonna sew one of these little squares on both of these.
All right.
Then I can trim and press real quick, and then I'll have you add the other side.
Cool.
There we go. Of course, we're just gonna leave our 1/4 inch seam. There we go. Cute.
Excellent.
All right. And then, just like before, we are going to add our other little 1.5 inch squares, and we want to make sure that it's going to intersect that first one that we added, so that we get our point on our heart and that won't get lost in the seam.
Perfect.
And it goes really quick when you have all of these cut out, and you can sit and chain piece and add, you know, all of this side one after the other, and
Yeah,
it just
I
makes
love
it go
those
fast.
types of. I love those types of projects because it's very satisfying.
Exactly, and it's enjoyable because you're not stressing about, okay, which thing do I do next? You just have, you know, a good little assembly line going. All right, so we'll cut those off. And then I'll give them a press, and then we'll just sew our little half hearts together. Here's one half and the other. All right, so then we're just gonna put those together, just like so. Adorable. All right, let me give that a press. And then we'll talk about laying out this first block. I have a few other hearts already done, and so we are just going to use 4 of these heart blocks. And then from another one of our 10-inch squares, we're going to cut those into 4.5-inch squares. So I have one of those ready to go. And then we will just set 4.5-inch background squares in between, just
Very
like a
nice.
big 9 patch. It goes together super quick. And then once it's all sewn together, it's gonna look just like this.
Awesome.
So that's block 1. Let me show you block 2. All right, so block 2 is gonna start with that same heart that we made. That's gonna be the center of this block. So you already learned how to do that. And so for the rest, we are just gonna take one of our 10-inch squares, and we're gonna cut this into 2.5-inch squares. And so I am just gonna, again, cut those 2.5-inch strips.
I noticed on the quilt, these are all matching.
Yeah.
That's the.
So the cornerstones I swapped, but all of these match.
Okay.
In the little star legs.
Nice.
And
okay.
so I still did a little bit
So
of
the
mixing.
star legs match, but the cornerstones are swapped.
Exactly.
Cool.
And
Very
so,
cool. I was, you know,
Yeah.
because your little heart blocks, you had them all scrappy. And
right. I tried to have a little bit of, you know, controlled chaos in there just to
Yeah.
give it some balance.
Well,
But, you
these
know,
colors all, I mean,
they go together
obviously they
beautifully.
blend so pretty.
Yeah. Okay, so again, we're just gonna stack our 2.5-inch strips up, and then we can subcut these into our 2.5-inch squares.
Awesome.
Make sure I'm nice and straight. That always helps my brain. Okay. And one more cut. All right, there we go. And so first up, we are going to make our little star legs, and like Natalie said, those are all matching. And so you will need 8 of those squares that you cut for your star legs. And so to do that, we are just going to take a 2.5 by 4.5 inch rectangle from our background fabric, and we are going to draw a line or press a line, and we are going to add these to each side. So I'll let you go ahead and just
But one at a time.
one at a time, because they
and
will
then you
overlap.
flip them and press them.
Exactly. Similar to how we did those little tops of the hearts.
Mm-hmm. second one you want me to do, or just this one?
Nope, just this one,
Okay.
because I have the other ones ready to go. So we'll trim. And
We
then I'll
can
roll this back real quick for you.
Cool.
Make sure it's going the way I want it to. Sometimes those seams don't want to behave. All right, so then we'll put that other one on. All right. Perfect. Thanks, Nat.
You're welcome.
So now I can trim this off and then press it back. And then the last step, is to add another one of our little background rectangles, so 2.5 by 4.5 to the
Always to the colored
side. Exactly.
The print.
The print, whatever you're using. And so if you'll just sew that for me, and we're going to make 4 little blocks exactly like this in the same way for each one of these little starburst blocks. I have the rest of those done.
There you
Awesome.
go.
Thank you. So I'll go ahead and press that and add it to my little pile here. And so
cute.
they're fun. And up next is our little cornerstones. And so we're just gonna sew our 2.5-inch print to a 2.5-inch background. Sew those together, and then we'll add this to the other side.
All right.
So I'll let you do that real quick.
Okay. Can I just finger
I
press
think it's
this?
fine. Yeah,
Okay.
as long as you're good with that, that works for me.
Yep.
Especially with batiks, it kind of just,
They're so nice
yeah,
and crisp. It's
exactly.
almost like the fabric is just pre-starched.
Yep, that is nice. Beautiful. All right, let me give that a press. And then we're also going to make 4 of those in the exact same way. So I have those other ones ready. And now we can lay out our block. And so we put our cute little heart in the middle. And then our star legs are going to go with the white towards the heart every time.
It gives it such a fun, like, floating look.
Yeah, it just kind of pops. And then we'll put those little cornerstones in each of the 4 corners. And then again, you're just gonna sew it like a big 9 patch, and it turns out just like that. And so let's talk about the layout
cute.
in the quilt. I started with this starburst block, and I just alternated every other block, so you have 5 across by 6 down. And then I also did add a sashing and a cornerstone in between each of the blocks. And I think it just adds to this kind of chain effect that you get all the way through it. And then I put one little white 2.5-inch stop border on the outside. And the finished size on this is 76 by 90. So
That's
it's
a great
size. And let me show you this cute cuddle backing.
Oh, that's
All
so
quilted up,
cute.
so it's so cozy. I absolutely love it. And the quilting pattern on this is called Heart Blossoms. So really fun. I used some pink thread, and I think it's a great detail. So
That's so cute.
that's it. That's my quilt. And I
All
think,
right.
Nat, you're
my
up next.
turn. All right, so it's my turn for the
Yay.
take on the heart. And this is my quilt.
So fun.
I'm calling it Hearts in Bloom because once you put them together, it kind of makes like a little blossom.
Yep.
In retrospect, I think it would actually look really great in greens and be like a cute little
Oh,
shamrock
yes.
type quilt too.
That would be fun.
It kind of could go with like lots of different themes.
Yeah. And
So.
you found like a really cool vintage quilt that kind of inspired this, right?
Yes, yeah, it was super cool, and I might need to make something that's a little bit closer to it.
Okay.
This is really it departed quite a bit in nature.
to get where you
To
ended
get
up.
where I ended up, yes.
Which
But
is good.
yeah, it's loosely inspired by a quilt that I saw at a vintage quilt.
That's
Really beautiful.
That's awesome.
Okay, so are you ready? Let's get started.
Let's do it.
All right, so to make my quilt, you're gonna need 1 packet of 10-inch squares, and I've used Wildberry Palette by Kona Cotton for Robert Kaufman. You're gonna need some background fabric. I use this Kona white. You'll need 3 5/8 yards. You'll need a little bit of border fabric, 1 1/4 yards. I used the heart nesting template for my hearts. You could freehand yours if you wanted to. Hearts aren't super complicated,
Right.
but the template just made cutting them all out so easy. And then they all match, like they come together exactly. The same way. You're gonna need some fusible, some So-Lite fusible adhesive, and I think that's pretty much it, aside from all your normal stuff.
Awesome, let's do it.
Okay, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you'll want to do as you're getting ready to start the quilt is cut out all of your background fabric and your hearts, and then it's just a matter of assembly.
Okay.
So I've got a 10-inch square cut of my background, and my print, I'm going to first cut a 2.5-inch strip off because we don't use quite as much fabric as we have to make our little hearts. And I thought it would be fun to do something a little extra.
Oh, I love that.
So set that aside for now. And then what we're gonna do is put our heat and bond or So-Lite fusible, whatever you have at home, and we're gonna press that on to our print fabric. Now, solids don't really have a right or wrong side. If you're using a print, it's gonna go on the wrong side. Okay.
Good call out.
Then we're gonna go ahead and trace our hearts.
Need a pen, let me see.
And there's plenty of room for these. I just need
Will that work? That's all I've got in here.
honestly, the pencil will work.
Will be better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you could cut these out presumably with a rotary cutter, but I just like to trace them and cut them out with my scissors. It works well for me. And I don't need very many of the little hearts. I have a little bonus project, so these hearts I cut out just a few from some of my scraps for my
Okay.
bonus project. So you could do that now or just wait until you're done.
At any point.
Yes. All right. These just get cut right out with scissors, super easy. Oh,
Sometimes it's really satisfying to just cut with scissors. And
it is.
I don't know.
Takes you back to like,
Elementary school.
yep,
Yes.
yep. And especially when you cut hearts, it just reminds me of like
Yeah.
every Valentine's Day.
All the little homemade Valentines. I agree. Super fun.
Okay, there is one thing that I was going to do, and you can do it before or after you've cut your hearts.
Okay.
For our little connecting strip, you want that to also have heat and bond on it. So that gets cut off of the side of this right
Okay.
here. And it's just a little 1/2-inch strip. Just a little one.
Perfect.
And I also cut it in half because you only need about 5 inches.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah. All right. So these line up just in opposite directions, like so.
And you're just putting this
And what
on
I
a
do is I
10-inch
put it,
background, right?
yes, it's a 10-inch
Okay.
background square, and I put my hearts as close to the end or the corner as I can get them.
Okay.
Because I want that part to get caught in the seam. So we line that up like that, and then this little strip just gets tucked underneath the middles of both hearts.
Cute.
It just connects. Then all we do is peel and press and top stitch.
So simple, but it's
Super
so
quick,
cute.
yeah. So let me go ahead and,
Get this one.
I like to cut a
Usually
score mark,
Yeah.
but you are good at that.
I've got the nails, and
Yeah,
that,
you
that
do. I
helps.
do not. I'm not a nail lady. I always get, they get like frayed edges when I try to do that.
Oh, interesting.
Now the cool thing about these is because it's like on the edge, you'll
Right.
often just have a little edge that's way easier to peel off. All right, so I'm gonna take this over to the mat and finish finessing it. Put all the little things in the right places. Make sure my little connecting stems kind of line up. And it's really like, it's just so easy, like don't stress about everything being exactly in line.
That's what I love about
let it
fusible
set for a
applique.
minute.
It's pretty forgiving and it's just fun.
Yep. All right, so I did go ahead and top stitch everything.
Okay.
The thing that I would mention is about here, in this corner, you're not gonna see that because it's gonna get caught in the seam. So you don't really have to worry about top stitching all the way down to that corner. I just went about where I thought the 1/4 inch would start.
catch
I
it.
wanted it to be, under it enough that it would seal the threads and keep them from unraveling. But yeah, I went around that way. I don't know if I did the whole thing like this. I don't remember.
But whatever.
Whichever method you like, whichever stitch you like, just go ahead and get them all top stitched.
What stitch did you use?
I typically use the blanket stitch.
blanket stitch,
I
okay.
just like that one. It's
like
neat and
that
tidy,
too.
and it always looks good. It curves easily. Everything about it for
I
me
know,
is
so many
easy.
people love a little zigzag, but I don't ever get as good of a finish as I do with the blanket stitch.
Mine always look funny too.
Yeah.
I can't space it properly.
Exactly.
All right, so let's talk about layout real quick. So these just alternate, going both directions. Start with one here and then spin it, and they all connect and make these cute little clovery flowers.
Little blossoms, yeah.
Yeah, and I went with 6x7 layout. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Cute.
And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's it. It's super simple. I just joined them in rows, and I think it's really fun. This is one too that would be it would be kind of cute to do other little things. You could embroider on the flowers. You could have people sign their names on the hearts if you wanted to make it a
that would be
signature
sweet.
thing. There's lots of cute things.
And is this like a little 5-inch border?
Yep, I've got a
Okay.
5-inch border. I went ahead and quilted it in one of our newer patterns.
I
I think
love
it's
it.
called Rainbow Heart.
So cute.
And a little bit of, I don't know if it's lavender or pink, but the thread is colored, which I think is so cute. It's
Yes.
very subtle. All right, I've got this really lovely backing fabric. It's called Bloom Pink, and you'll need 2 1/8 yards of this fabric. It's a 108, so nice and
Perfect.
wide. Easy to use and no seam. I love that.
That's always the best.
Yeah, so it ends up being 66 by 75.5, and it's awesome. It's so fun and easy. And then I've got this little bonus project because we set aside those 2.5-inch strips.
Yeah.
So all we're gonna do is add a 2.5-inch white square to each end. If you want
Okay.
to sew, you can. You
Sure.
haven't sewn it all
I
today.
haven't. I just got to enjoy.
But then we're gonna put them together in opposites, every other one, up and down.
There's my little guy.
Yep. Go ahead and press that. Oh, it's slippery. There we go. And I just put all of them together, and then I ended up with a really lovely table runner for my Valentine's table.
Cute.
Super cute and easy, no border or anything. So really this is all just fabric from your set.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And then I took this, flip those back. And then I have 2 little cute placemats that I put some more little fusible hearts on.
I love that.
And so they're so fun. It's just a little fun, like this would be great for your little Valentine's Day dinner table.
Yeah.
Or if you have a long table, you could absolutely leave these attached and just do one super long runner.
Yeah, that's cute.
Or
I
if
love
you
the little
just
hearts on
want
there.
placemats, you could cut that into thirds and end up with 5, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, these are just little bonus from your extra set of strips that come from your fabric, and I thought it was super fun to just include that.
That is awesome, Nat. I love it.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
All right, so this has been really fun. Misty's Unchained Melody and my Hearts in Bloom. We've got 2 double takes on the heart block for you.
Exactly.
I think it turned out really great. I still miss Mom.
I know. It's so weird to not have her here. We miss you, Jenny.
Yes.
But this has
But
been so fun, and we're happy to have something still
Yes.
going and